Alaska Cora, when I look at the legislation before us, I think of the action that we have to take, and I'm reminded of the lesser evil for the greater good. Now, I find it difficult to accept some of what has happened since COVID started, but I particularly want to thank those on the front line, those who gave over their usual and way beyond what was expected of them to treat patients, to make these regulations work, and I think they're of the Gardaí, but the nurses and the doctors and all of those people that have helped in a very precarious time. It's hard to plan for something like COVID because we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what variant is going to be around the corner, and we don't know where the next outbreak might be. So all we can do is put our best foot forward, and in doing that, to do so with a certain degree of humanity and compassion, and understanding the general public and what they want and what they have put up with since COVID started has to be taken into consideration. Now, during the period of lockdown, a huge amount of damage has been done to the economy, a huge amount of damage has been done to society, and it will be over a long period of time, how long we don't know, until we see some sort of rebuilding of the economy, rebuilding of families even, and society. Now, I go along with the legislation before us, reluctantly, because we're now midstream, and it's very difficult to understand or to comprehend what might be needed in 3 or 4 months' time. But what the public are saying to me is they want to see an end to these draconian measures. They want to see us coming out, and they don't want to see a rolling lockdown or a rolling implementation of the measures. And I would ask you, Minister, to consider responding to that, to give a clear message to the public who are deeply concerned. Now, in our response to COVID, on the economic front, yes, we gave great supports to the main part of the economy, but there were sectors left out. And I mentioned in particular those that were over 66, I mentioned this to you before, and other sectors. And for the want of reaching out to them and to bringing them with you, you made very little effort. The government made very little effort. And I'm shocked by that. It's not good enough that the majority would be helped. It's an effort on the side of the government to make sure everyone that is being affected is helped. And I continually referred, and I asked parliamentary questions on this during the week, about the mental health issues that are now falling out of families that were never affected before, and those that were affected and have now their situation has worsened, and they can't get appointments. And I've asked that you would consider the private sector and those that are giving counselling service and so on. And that was met with a resounding no from the HSE. Just as much as a family planning to go to America for Erasmus, or a family going to America for college. And this is a question I put to you, Minister, again recently. And you know, the answer I got was so disrespectful to the Parliament, it was hard to credit. It more or less gave me the 2 fingers and told me where to go. But that family, or families that I was representing, they had a right to know. They had a right to know. And you should have responded differently. You should have responded with the information that that family was asking for. Even if the answer was no, it would have been far better to consider their position and to give that answer straight and fair. What about those people that have to travel to America, to college or to courses, and are trying to book their flights, they're trying to book their accommodation, and you show no understanding of that? Government shows no understanding of it. So my appeal to you today is, deal with the simple things as well. deal with the issues that are emerging and the simple questions that are being asked, and stop the mixed messaging that has gone on over the last while. People are simply asking for information. The aviation sector is just asking for information, and there seems to be no definite plan that we can explain to them. I asked again about the retail sector, and there's no understanding about what they have to do to accommodate the holding of stock, to accommodate the reopening of their enterprise, and there's a general response to them. So in the course of the next few months, when we are encouraging people to open, I want you to be really specific and have really clear language in terms of the information you give out. And I would agree with previous speakers that this thing of 1 hour and 5 minutes and some of the other regulations that are currently being spoken about are absolutely farcical. They'll do nothing for the business that you're engaging with, nothing to do with the sector that you're engaging with. It gives them hope, and then you take away 90% of that hope. Please understand that a business cannot just reopen. A society cannot just reopen. It needs to be done sensibly and with sympathy and with financial supports. And I would ask that whenever a member of this House, regardless of what party or none that they're part of, that when they ask for information, that they get it. Because when they're asking for someone that's in trouble in their community. And could I place on record at Ascam Cora my thanks to Taiwan for making available a huge amount of PPE equipment for the various community and nursing homes throughout the country.
Thank you, Deputy. Now